Okay, now I'm going to demonstrate to you how we are stain and glazing Celtra Duo. What to do and what not to do, and what to use and what not to use. So first what we need is, we need a firing tray. So I want you to use a honeycomb tray, also called Saget tray. Do not use any other firing tray, especially not the one that is used for Emacs. Then we have a firing pad that you can also get from us that goes on top. This is the ideal placement for Celtra Duo. Now when it comes to my crown that I have just produced, I want to make sure that I have a bit of a dry run before I actually start the stain and glazing process. So I work out where I'm going to best hold my crown, where is it having the best grip, and then I'm going to work out how I'm going to transfer it over to my honeycomb tray. So I'm grabbing it by the contacts and I'm transferring it over. And once I've done that, because every crown is differently shaped and slightly different, I just want to make sure I'm fine with that. So once I've done that, I can actually start my stain and glazing process. Now, when it comes to crowns that don't stand up by themselves, like interiors or premolars often, then I need to do something else. Under no circumstances do I put it onto a pin. And I also don't want to put any firing paste of any kind inside my crown. What I will do is I provide a little cushion onto my firing tray, roughly about 3 millimeters high. Just squirt a little bit onto my firing tray, such as this. And then my crown will easily rest on this. So I'm holding my crown, I'm using my tweezers, I grab it by the contacts, and I'm simply resting it on my paste. I don't need to push the crown down, I'm just resting it. And it doesn't topple over. And that's all that is needed, just to rest my crown. So I've got that now worked out, and I can start now the stain and glazing process. So, first thing that I need to do is I need to work up my glaze. The consistency of my glaze is very important. It can be sometimes too runny, and it can be sometimes too dry. So to work that out, I pick up some glaze that I have taken out of my bottle, and I brush a little bit on my thumb. Now, if it brushes on like as such, and I see my brush strokes, but it's very dry, it doesn't gloss, and the brush strokes they don't run into one another, it's definitely too dry. Now, if I need to add liquid, don't add liquid that comes with your glaze kit straight into your glaze, but put a little bit next to it. So you can actually pick some up and work that into your glaze to get it to the right consistency. You do the test again. Now I can still see my brush strokes, but it's much glossier and they're sort of running into one another. That's the perfect consistency. If I don't see my brush strokes at all, and it's just one glossy surface, then I have too much liquid. Good. Now we are ready. So I apply some of the glaze where I'm going to hold my crown. Now I grab my crown, and now on an even layer, I'm going to apply glaze from the top down towards the margin in that sort of motion. So we don't brush up and down, we don't brush sideways, because we don't want to get any glaze into the fitting surface. So you're safe to do it this way. All around an even layer. If you need to pick up some more, pick up some more. Good. Once we have done that, I take another brush, maybe a smaller one if I have, and I'm going to, it's not necessary, but in some cases it may be, I'm going to add some other stains. Now, make sure your brush is clean always, and make sure your brush is always dry. Now I'm going to pick up a little bit of a khaki color, and now I'm going to work some of it into the neck area or cervically. So we're dabbing it a little bit onto there. We don't brush it on, we dab it in a little bit. And we have a little bit of a cervical color there. Clean the brush again. And maybe we could also use a little bit of incisor. If you do want to wet your brush, wet it into the liquid, not with water. To prevent to put on too much glaze or stain all at once, you can always put a bit of that on your thumb. Make sure you're not picking up too much at once. And very subtly, you can put a little bit around the incisal edges, the marginal ridges, and give it a little bit that extra translucency effect. Like I said, doesn't suit every patient. Some cases, in most cases, you won't have to do anything. So, now I have got a three-dimensional layer just with two stains. Now I'm ready, and I want to now transfer my crown onto the tray. So again, I always stay close to my tray in case it does drop, it doesn't drop onto my lap. So I pick up my crown by the contacts and put it onto my little firing paste cushion. Good. Now I'm going to do the molar as well. I do this without the commentary, so you can see the whole procedure once more. And now they're ready to go into the furnace. Make sure you selected the correct program, and if you need our help to program your furnace, we can always send a technician over and make sure that you got the correct program entered for Celtra Duo firing.